Hello, welcome to the Eddie Conversation Podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil, and I am your host. This is episode number 81, and joining me today is Beau Nelson.
Howdy.
Thanks for coming on, Beau. It's been a long time coming. I do want to get... Oh, sorry. I do want to give a quick intro before I let you say anything.
Okay.
Beau is the director of short films such as Strangers in Focus and Hide and Seek. He is the lead actor in my short web series This Didn't Happen, and also plenty of other things that I think I was going to say, but I have now forgotten. So I've got stuff here. But on top of that, what else should we add to the list? I know actor, director, writer. What are we missing here, Beau?
Musician, perhaps?
Yes.
I've been playing keyboard anyway since I was about 6, by ear anyways. And then I had like my first real lessons for piano in college. I went to college for music performance and music theater, and also theater later, but music
Great.
for trumpet, piano, and voice.
Okay, I remember as you were saying that, I remember the other thing I was going to mention, co-writer of feature film, Chama Days.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so musician as well. Can we also throw in singer? Can we say singer?
Yeah.
You have the ability to sing?
Yeah, I had voice lessons.
And you're pretty good.
I'd say so.
Great.
I'm the best singer.
And we'd say you're the best singer, right? Is that okay? Let's see where to start here. So I guess, always trying to think about whether or not we start with the more recent stuff or we start with kind of more Beau origins. Trying to what sounds more interesting
we
to
can
you?
do recent, I suppose.
Okay.
I like the origin prequel sort of tactic.
You like starting and then going back.
Yeah. It's like, how did we get here?
I'm not a big fan of prequels.
Okay.
But let's do it. All right. So our context has been primarily in the film space. I know we have done other things together as well, but we met through some film networking stuff.
Yeah.
Back in, I don't know, we don't have to, that was a whole thing. It's, this is, I don't know what to say about that. I don't really have to.
There's not much to say.
Not much to say. So we met networking film a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And I guess here's what would be good to clarify up front is, for the people at home, of course, I know you. I would say, I'm pretty all right. But for people at home that do not know you, I guess let's say, like, what is the dream here? Between all the stuff that we mentioned, that can get me going on that aspect?
Writer director would be pretty sweet, I think.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your writing directing experiences then, because I know you have another one cooking, but we're not gonna jump into that. Let's talk about the first two, and I'm very curious to hear maybe your takeaways from those experiences, what you recall from those, because I don't think we've really had the deep dive on those shoots. I know. So short film number 1, Hide and Seek.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was sort of written on the fly, because we had a different script that we were preparing for, but we had like an effect that we couldn't shoot because we had like it was very location specific, and we couldn't use the location, so we were still ready to shoot something, so I just kind of pooped out a script, and then we shot it.
Yeah, I do recall. Okay, yes, uh-huh. So the idea as you I'll just regurgitate it back. Yes, there was a plan of attack. I was attached to this as well. I
Hmm.
believe it was like your first. No, no, Amir was first AD, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna do sound for you. I think
Hmm.
was that the plan from the beginning? I forget now. I don't even know
Um,
what was happening.
I sort of brought you on as a advice giver slash um
Slash sound.
slash sound.
Yeah, I do recall that. Yeah, the whole. So I guess my perspective on it was the location fell through and the decision had to be made.
Hmm.
It's like, what do we do? Do we just can the whole thing, or do we try to find a different location? And I think my advice was keep the date and shoot something else.
Hmm.
And that's so you had to
Yeah.
barf out a script.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, I don't know. How was that?
Um,
And
it
and
was.
and get the mic closer up to
Oh,
it.
sorry.
There we go.
It was a. Um, I'd say it was fairly experimental, especially. I mean, because with that it was I would yeah, it's my first it was my first short, so um first time really directing. um yeah, it was just very experimental. I wanted to experiment with different ways of doing different ways of shooting stuff, different sort of techniques. I don't know.
Little distraction here by Luna the cat.
Yeah.
If you're watching the video version. Okay. Yes.
um yeah, I'd call it unorthodox from from what I gather.
Okay. Because I know that you're a big. I know you're big on like your storyboarding and your
Hmm.
pre-production planning and all of that. So I do recall on the day sticking specifically to your storyboards and
Hmm.
kind of observing you, watching you do your thing. I don't think I did much. I don't really recall doing much advising on this, but I was there.
Yeah.
I had a little cameo.
Hmm.
Okay, so you did that one, and I guess I don't know. For some reason, I'm wanting. Okay, I'll come to the thing. All right, so moving into short number two.
Oh, with
Oh,
short number
okay.
one, also
Yeah.
it was my first time um composing for it, and um yeah, because I had a cameo in it as well, so it was the first time. Like, yeah, like I cameoed in it. I wrote it, directed it, edited it, composed for it. Um, was there? I think that's it.
That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was. Yeah. Just wanted to clarify.
Because you wanted the well, so the idea there was you're just I'm assuming is that just you trying to pull
Yeah.
as much from the experience as possible?
Yeah. Trying to feel out the roles. So like if I ask somebody to do something like that in the future, I've some sort of inkling of an idea of what I'm asking them to do.
Sounds great. That's great stuff. I guess okay. Um feature sorry, I keep saying feature. Short film number 2.
Mini feature.
Mini feature number 2. How did remind me how this one came to be? Because I from my perspective, again, I played a part in this one too. That
Mm-hmm.
was a whole thing, which I can ask more specifically about in a
Mm-hmm.
bit. But um, what was the idea heading into this one? Now that you kind of had that first taste, if you will.
Um. Well, with Strangers in Focus, I wanted to focus a bit more on um. I guess the because the first one was a bit like a generalized thing, just dipping the toe in, and then Strangers with Focus, I wanted to focus a bit more on the filming side of it. So I guess my way of going into that was to sort of write the characters for the actors, so I wouldn't have to worry so much about directing as much, because it's if like you're already sort of have an idea of what the part is, or if you don't have to, the actors don't have to do a whole lot of heavy lifting, so I don't have to direct them so much. But yeah, so I wrote the part of the photographer, because I'm not sure how to explain what the short is, but there's a photographer in it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I wrote you for the part, like I wrote the part for you.
Yeah.
I didn't write you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the photographer has like a sort of quietness and eddiness to the to the
Yeah,
character.
the Eddie qualities were
Right. And then yeah, I wrote the
because
characters
it was
for
a
the
decent
actors.
sized cast though too. It was, you like to write big cast stuff. Like
Mhm.
this wasn't like a big cast per se, but for a short, me as a photographer, and then I'm taking photos of. There's one sequence where I'm taking a photo of a gentleman and his
And his son.
air quotes, and then a trio, a young mother and father with their baby.
Mhm.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 cast.
Mhm.
The son was not human.
Right.
It was a prop.
Prop son.
Yeah. So the same goes for all the cast. Like you cast the couple, you knew who the couple was.
Mhm.
You knew the guy's personality, just leaning into who.
Right.
I don't know if this was. I'm assuming it's not their true dynamic. I don't know.
No.
But you knew who the people were and what they're
Right.
capable of doing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I like to write for that stuff too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They fit it well. So
They were the best part. And Maddie
as the baby,
being cast as the baby. So
that was fun.
that's a whole thing. So watch that. You can find those on YouTube. Okay. All right. Just to jump straight into okay, I'm debating whether no, we don't have to. Okay. Not taking into account the actual project that you're trying to get off the ground, but things that you're trying to explore yourself in the director writer space. What are you most excited about testing next? Like,
Next, I kind of want to focus on the actors a bit more, directing the actors. So this next one, I'm wanting to put a lot of thought into how it's going to be filmed, so I don't have to focus so much on that. Yeah.
what kind of prep work do you like in terms of research as a like where do you pull your ideas on the directing from? Because I know like you have the theater background,
Mm-hmm.
which you've been directed, like you've acted. You have never directed theater, right? Or
No.
Okay, so you've received direction,
Mm-hmm.
but where are you pulling? I don't know. How do you study up on the craft? Like, what's your do you?
Well, yeah, being directed, you pick up stuff. I watch a lot of YouTube. Studio Binder is a good channel. They
I've
have
heard
a
good
lot
things. Yeah.
they have a lot of fun tips. Yeah, just I've read books sort of just based on filmmaking and writing, and I just sort of just pull things here and there and trial and error.
Yeah. Early days, short 3. Copy. Yeah. Copy. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, quick little easy question here to segue us into your past.
Okay.
For those watching the video version, Beau is currently wearing glasses, and I just kind of wanted to ask about your glasses for people that have been wondering this the whole time. Is one eyepiece is a circle and one eyepiece is a square? Why?
I saw them online and I liked them. I got a few opinions, and then I got them.
What were the opinions that you received?
Um, it was supportive. It was supportive mostly.
Yeah, but what do they say? They're like, yeah, Beau, this is for you. I could imagine
Yeah.
people being more open to like, what's the?
Well, I wasn't like 100% on them at first. But then like I got the support I needed I got the courage to just get them.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yes.
It's funny. Like sometimes I forget I have these strange shaped glasses, and not everybody notices them, or not at least not everybody like says something about it. But it's fun when somebody you see somebody's face, because they're not like super obviously shaped different. Like you have to. It's If you're paying attention, you'll notice.
Yeah.
But it's funny seeing somebody that is attentive to that sort of thing, because they're like, hmm?
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right?
Oh yeah, making people
Because
pop their head.
I mean, the way that I think, I don't know if you've thought about this, it's probably been a thing, but I always kind of imagine that the added, like the little like tape in the middle would be helpful too, where it would look like you've literally got two pairs of glasses that you've stitched together.
A lot of people ask that. Like, did you make those? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
nope.
Nope, I bought these online.
And this is actually my second pair. The first pair I lost in the ocean.
Yep. The classic back to the ocean.
Yep. Never turn your back to the ocean.
Chestnut.
That's the old chestnut.
The old chestnut. Okay, so Beau, let's just dive into your past if we can.
Okay.
Can we talk about, again, I don't know if directing and filmmaking has always been the dream.
Nope.
Or okay.
In high school, I was sort of the class clown. Small school, small town. But I kept getting like support for like you should be on TV, or you should be a TV person. I don't know.
You'd be hilarious. People love
Yeah.
to go to SNL. I don't know what people say.
Yeah, it was SNL. So I like sort of loosely had that SNL dream. So like I don't know how I thought I was gonna get there, but like by going to college for music. But there's ways of doing it, but I didn't work them out like that.
Yeah.
But the college I went to is Northern Oklahoma College. It was a junior college. They had this program called the Roustabouts, which is like a world traveling song and dance troupe that like goes back to the way back when.
Mm-hmm.
So I joined I auditioned for the band there, and I got in. So I played trumpet through that. We played on a cruise ship. That was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I sort of had that. Well, because like a junior college, you go for 2 years and then you're usually done. But the Roustabouts thing gives a scholarship for 3 years, because Roustabouts takes up a good chunk of time. It's very extracurricular. So I did like the first 2 years just as a music performance major. And then my third year, as I was enrolling for my third year, I was told you only need like a couple more credits to also get the music theater degree. So I was like, okay, sign me up. So I did. Not sure the significance, but I remember I never had less than 18 credit hours per semester. So I was already doing a lot, and then like in my last year, I remember I got up to like 20, 21 or 23 credit hours or something. So like because I was doing voice lessons, trumpet lessons, piano lessons, piano class, um, various band classes, along with a couple of the gen eds and roustabouts. So it was
So
busy.
do you would you describe yourself as a person that enjoys school?
Um,
Because to me, when I went to college, it took me 5 years to get through my 4 year program, and I was doing like kind of like that. I'll call it the average 12 to 14 maybe at best because they were so taxing. So I'm like 18, 21, 23. That's a full load. Yeah.
yeah.
Was it torture or was it a
Um,
dream?
Parts of overall, I'd say I enjoyed my time there. Like some of the gen eds, I'm not a fan of like learning things that I'm not particularly interested in from teachers or professors that I don't particularly click with, or I don't know. There were some that didn't really care. There were some that cared a bit too much, I thought. Um,
So the combo of either they don't care and you don't care, it's a bad combo.
yeah.
And then you don't care and then they care too much. And that's a different kind of
Well,
pain.
I remember one was like history, and like I don't know. He Every test was based on the notes, and nothing was in the textbook that we had to get. So it's like I don't know. It's, go off the textbook. We have to
Sure.
pay for the textbook.
If you're gonna make us buy it,
Right?
use it. I guess
Yeah.
that's not a bad thought.
Because there was I couldn't because I remember skimming I would skim through the book, and there was like nothing he talked about. I don't know.
Okay, but otherwise,
I wasn't a fan of the gen eds for the most part. Actually, like the English teacher I got in in college was actually probably the first time I enjoyed English class. But like the rest of the time, it was a lot of classes that I enjoyed, like music theory and ear training and sight singing, and like the piano class I enjoyed, and um, the choir and madrigal chamber choir, and a lot of that was I enjoyed it.
okay, great,
And then of course like I lived on campus with and made friends, and that was always a blast, you could say.
nice. Sounds lovely. All that is to say, so you ended up getting both the degrees.
Mm.
Remind me what they were. Music
Uh,
something.
yeah, music performance and music theater, and then I
Gotcha.
went to a university for theater with a minor in music because I had so many credits for it. It was going to be I only needed to take like one music class. It was music history, which I failed miserably because the professor he was one that I would say cared way too much. His tests were like brutal. I thought, anyways. Like even with like my music background, like I had a hard time with it, but um, yeah, like sort of like hmm, I didn't really have to try very hard with a lot of the other stuff. So I didn't know I had to try that hard for the for other things. So like I yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's how I got through school too.
Hmm.
Like through, let's say, elementary school, middle school, high school, I didn't
Mm.
have to try it all to get through my classes and
Yeah.
pass and get A's and whatnot. And then when I got to college, and I'm taking, well, because I went to school for engineering,
Mm.
so it was like thermodynamics and ventilation and all this other stuff,
Hmm.
and you actually have to like do studying, and I didn't know how to do it, so
Yeah.
it was little different.
Yeah. I remember high school. I didn't really try at all. Um, I just I knew a lot of the teachers didn't care. Um, well, especially in like the math department, like they had such a high turnover rate of math teachers. Like every year there was a different math teacher. Um, and I remember like our school was like failing pretty miserably and on the verge of not being a school anymore for a bit. I remember hearing. Um,
Remind me again, where did you clarify? Okay, you didn't say where your high school was.
no, it was small town Oklahoma. Um, Pawnee is the
Right.
yeah. I was in Pawnee from 5th grade through graduation of high school.
And then to clarify for the people at home, this Pawnee is the same Pawnee that's shown in Parks and Rec.
Nope.
Different Pawnee.
Yeah. The Pawnee in Parks and Rec is in
Is that DC
I
area? Where? I have no idea.
is it Ohio or something?
I don't know.
Pawnee.
Okay, same
I don't know.
name, not the
Yeah.
same place. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So you didn't try it? Yeah. Uh-huh.
But yeah, not trying kind of skimmed me by, not failing. Like if I was ever on the verge of failing, I would try a little bit and then I wouldn't fail, and then on to next year.
Good stuff. Good tips for the kids out there listening.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So university, you got the music, you got you leveled up on the music side. Oh, you failed the class, but
Yeah, I was only there. I was at the university for one semester, because I had federal aid help for the first semester, but it didn't cover everything, and usually that's not like it wasn't an issue before this new person came on to the university financial board or whatever, and then I guess they made it where your federal aid had to cover everything, or everything had to be paid off before you could enroll for the next semester. Um, so like they changed that rule as I was trying to enroll, and I was like, okay, well I guess I'm not. I guess I'm done here.
yeah, priced out.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
but it was a cool semester.
it was a nice semester. Lovely
The
semester.
theater classes were fun.
Okay. So I'm still trying to get back a little bit to some boat origins here.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned at the beginning of all of that people were telling you that, hey, you're a funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should look into this. But prior to all of that, did you have a plan before? Because this is being fed to you by other people observing you. What did you feel inside prior to that?
Honestly, it's hard to say. Yeah, I didn't really have a sort of plan for much, really, until college. Yeah,
Okay.
I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't quite know what it was.
Okay. So the thought was what? Like as you're going, because I know classically, like in the movies and all that stuff, it's kind of those conversations come up towards the end of high school. It's like, all right, so where are you headed to next?
Mm.
Where are you applying? What are you trying to do? You went into you like you said, you didn't really know you didn't seem to have a plan, but you went and pursued the music side. And you did some cool music stuff.
Right, because I did band all through middle school and high school, playing the trumpet. So I figured I could do something with music. Um, yeah, I don't. If it wasn't if those ideas weren't sort of like thrust upon me, I don't know if I would have done anything with them.
Yeah. Do you still have a trumpet?
Mhm.
You do?
Mhm.
Why don't you play that in a short?
I've actually I started like because I pick it up every once in a while and I'll practice. Uh, Last couple weeks or so, I've been really practicing more because I work night shifts, so I have a mute, but I can put in the trumpet and play it as loud as my heart desires, and it's not loud out.
How does that work?
It's called a silent brass mute. It's just like something you shove in the bell, and it has like a little microphone inside, and you just like plug in earphones or headphones.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's nice. I've never heard of such a thing. That's weird. That's cool.
They have them for other instruments too. It's like I saw one for a tuba.
Is
It's
it
like
big?
yeah, it's
It's a
ginormous.
giant plug there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't know. Should we? Okay, so should we? Should we ask? So for okay, maybe the next question before I jump into some more random topics would be: we're currently in Los Angeles, California.
Yes.
You went to college again, where?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. So you're in Oklahoma this whole time.
Uh, Before Oklahoma, I was in Minnesota.
Okay, right. Jeez Louise, I had to keep it together. States, all these states. I'm not good at states, but
Midwest, especially.
yeah. So how do we get to Los Angeles is the question everybody wants to know.
Uh, okay. Well, okay. Back to NOC days. When SNL was the goal. I had like this sort of half-baked plan to go to the Second City. It's like an improv training school sort of thing. And they have one in New York, they have one in Chicago, and they have one in Los Angeles. Or at least they had those three at the time. I don't know if they're still. I think the one here closed actually from COVID.
No way.
I think so. I can't remember. One of them closed.
Okay.
I think.
Maybe.
But I wanted to join the Second City and then somehow maybe get picked up for SNL or something like that. I just knew the next step was try to get into Second City.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, right?
Right. So I had that idea brewing as I went to the university after NOC. And I got cast in the Shakespeare show, As You Like It. And I met my now fiance, Madison McAllister.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I met her at the like when everybody got cast for it. The director had everybody do this like camping thing. It's like a sort of bonding experience for everybody. So I met her there, and yeah, we got to talking eventually. She said she wanted to pursue acting and she wanted to move to Los Angeles at some point. And I was like, there's a Second City in Los Angeles, so I could tag along. I don't know, just throwing out ideas. So yeah, we got together. Yeah, and then we moved to Los Angeles. Fairly shortly, I'd say after that.
'Cause you got here around the same time I got here, from my memory.
Oh,
I got
really?
here end of 2018.
Or I think I was here before you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2017.
Okay.
I think
Whoa.
end of 2017.
Ooh, a year ahead. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Here we are now. And I don't know. I don't have a smooth transition for this, but okay, that gets us. That gets a timeline to LA times. But maybe okay. Speaking of recent changes from getting to this is I don't know. This is a blah, blah, blah. Just okay. Let's talk about veganism.
Okay.
You moved here as a meat eater.
Yep.
You transitioned to vegetarian
Mm-hmm.
and then to vegan or straight to
To
vegan?
pescatarian for a month or so, and then vegetarian for a couple months or so, and then I've been vegan for I think it's been a year, 2 years, a year. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I think 2
it feels like
years.
it's been a bit.
I think 2 years now.
So how? Okay, I guess just curiosities on. I know people are watching and always curious about diets. Did what's your? I know I remember jokes of like you would on Facebook specifically you would share one of your posts from like years ago,
Mm.
like past Beau was making fun of people who were vegan,
Mhm.
and then you're like, oh, this didn't age well or
Yeah.
something, because now you're the guy that your past self was making
Yeah.
fun of. So the question is, question number one, classic question, why? Question number two, is this a forever thing, or do you see a mashup at some like how gauging the principles and the choice here?
So why? Short answer is for the animals. Yeah, I saw one of my go-to YouTubers at the time. He was like another topic we might delve into. He's like a atheist YouTuber. He was talking about because like he was a meat eater and he was talking about like he came up with a video. I think it's called the Meat Eater's Case for Veganism. And it was sort of him exploring like the points that could be made for veganism, and like he couldn't, as a meat eater, he couldn't defend them, or he didn't really have counterpoints. So like he was sort of laying those out, and I was taking them in, and I was listening to him, and I was like, because I like to think about things, and I couldn't really.
Yeah, and you're a fan of logic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wrap my brain around any sort of arguments against it. So it was brewing in my mind for a bit. I think I went vegan around the same time that YouTuber did, maybe a little after. But yeah, it was brewing in my mind a bit. Of course, there's plenty of brutal footage out there of the treatment of animals, and yeah, yeah, it's just it's sort of it's an ethical thing for me. Yeah, so I'm not gonna support it, essentially.
Yes, that sounds like okay. That's a lifelong commitment there. Copy. All right, and what's I know that you've been at it for a while, and that's a lifestyle now. So how do you recall how the transition was? Like you kind of took it slow,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of worked your way into it. You didn't just do a hard stop
Right.
from one to the other. So it's all has coalesced into everything is normal, and there's no
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah, I hardly think about it now. Just like because it's weird. Like when you make like a grocery list, you do like eggs, milk, cheese, those things. Um, so like when I was making like the grocery lists towards the beginning, it was like almond milk, uh, vegan eggs, vegan cheese, or whatever. It's like now I just put milk, egg, and cheese, and I just think of them as I think of the vegan
Ooh.
alternatives as milk, egg, and cheese.
I see.
Though I don't drink much. I didn't really drink much milk as it was, anyways. But
Yeah.
It's nice with some cookies or something.
There you go. I like cookies.
And there's a lot of bad vegan cheese out there. So
Yeah.
be careful.
Do you have a recommendation for a good vegan cheese out there?
Of course, it depends on the sort of cheese you're looking for. A go-to we do for shredded cheese was actually the first one we tried before. It was I think the brand is Daya. It used because there was the first time we tried it back like when we started going vegan, and it was terrible. It was like we tried making nachos with it. It was like it was rubber. It was plastic. It was awful. It was terrible. But so like we tried like every brand basically, and then I think it was maybe months ago. I don't. Oh, so at some point, Daya changed their recipe, and it is much better now. So we use Daya now, make it with the new and improved.
So wait, how does that? So they made you how? I'm just thinking if they failed you once before, how did you have the guts to go back and be like, let's try them again?
Because we never really settled on one that we really liked. So we were still trying. We've been trying them. We still try them. Like if we see a new brand we haven't seen, we'll try it and see if it's any good.
Yeah.
But it said new and improved recipe on it, and like they changed their packaging a bit. So we were like, all right, we'll give it another shot. We'll try it, and then yeah, we've liked that one. For if you like blue cheese, there's one called Rind. That one tastes just like blue cheese, and it feels just like blue cheese. I wasn't really a fan of blue cheese before. At least like I started liking blue cheese maybe a year or so before I went vegan. So like I started eating it then. So then when I went vegan, I was like, oh man, I want some blue cheese. So they had this. Yeah, we went to Crossroads. It's like an upscale vegan restaurant on Melrose, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they had like a charcuterie board, and it had that rind blue cheese on it. And we asked the server, and it was like, yeah, it's rind. So we went out and got some. For mozzarella, for like pizza cheese, there's like this liquid mozzarella Miyoko's.
Yeah.
I think Miyoko's is the brand. Yeah, I've made pizza a bunch of times with that. It bubbles up, and that's a nice one.
Nice. What does blue cheese go with?
It is good with fruit,
Uh-huh.
crackers.
How do you eat it with fruit?
Like with you could do it with grapes or raisins. You could do it.
So kind of like you're talking like charcuterie board
Yeah.
almost style. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, I guess I don't know my cheeses, so apologies.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, that's veganism, everybody. Next, here's what I got. Here's what I kind of want to jump in here. We'll start a little bit general. As you may know, if you're a fan of the show, I like to look at people's Instagrams. You don't have much on there to look at. So you do have something on your Facebook, though.
Okay.
I don't know if you recall. I don't know when you put this, but like you kind of have I don't know how Facebook works, but your self-descriptor of some kind at the top of your page says limited by language, and then it's followed with a like one of those little sprouty green plant emojis. Limited by language. I'm just curious as to what that means, what you think of it, and why it's there. Yeah.
Okay. Limited by language. I discovered I sort of think like in my inner. I don't really have a sort of. I can have an inner monologue, but it's my inner thoughts are sort of abstract and oftentimes difficult to put into words. yeah, that's me limited by language.
So it's a description. Gotcha. So it's more of a. I wasn't quite sure if it was. Yeah, which you answered the question. I wasn't quite sure if it was referencing you specifically,
Mm.
or if it was the interactions we were having here on this platform,
Uh,
or like that. That larger
yeah,
thing that we're all limited by language
yeah.
potentially. But
We definitely are. Because I'm sure I'm not alone, and I I could
I don't
say
know.
with.
My inner thoughts come out very. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, my vocabulary. Yeah,
I
huh?
think yeah, the at least yeah. Um yeah, language isn't perfect. It's a tool. So I'm always looking for new words, sort of. Cuz yeah, was the you read 1984, eh?
Per your recommendation, I sure
Yeah.
did, and I
Yeah.
loved it. Slash is
Um
terrifying.
right. But George Orwell was big about probably butchering his views, but he was big on like word usage and like the purpose of language. And in 1984, uh, the powers that be sort of limited um, the speak of folks. So like there was just like one word for like descriptors, like and with that, like not I don't think it covers it in the book, but like the language you speak and think in has an effect on how you perceive things. Like for example, with color, there's like that there's a tribe of people somewhere, and I think it's either South America or Africa, but they don't have like a word for a certain color, but they have like a lot of words for like varying shades of we'll say blue. They have like they have like a specific word for like a light blue and a specific word for like a medium blue and like a darker blue. So and I don't know. I'll just say they don't have a word for red. And um, when they were like tested on like sort of like given like color swatches, they could more easily see the difference between really similar shades of blue that say typical Americans wouldn't be able to tell the difference between. They could really see a difference between them, but they couldn't really see a difference between like a some other color and red, like a very obvious difference to us. And that's just like built into their
Yeah,
language.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think we're all limited by language a bit. Um, yeah, I remember I reached out. I'll just keep rambling.
Go
Uh,
for it. Go for it. We're loving it.
I reached out on like multiple etymology groups on Facebook, like the study of words and language.
Mm.
And like I just sort of like joined in a bunch of random etymology groups and asked on a post in the group if there was anybody that'd be willing to um, sort of make new words, because I have in my phone notes like a lot of definitions of words that don't exist yet that I know of, at least in English.
Mm.
There's been a couple bites, but not much and nothing consistent. I found one person who lived in, I think she lived in Ireland or something. Um, but she gave me a couple new words, and that was fun.
Nice. Do you have an example for us by chance? I would love to hear one of
Sure.
these because it sounds like something, from a writer's perspective, we hear about movies or books that introduced new terminologies and new words that kind of help define things that were previously.
Well, like another thing, like the reason I reached out on like the etymology thing is because I wanted the words to make sense
Mm.
in a way that words make sense. Like I didn't just want a floop de floop as the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
the thing of the yeah.
Can you? Yeah. The definition, and then maybe
Okay.
this is one that has a word that you've assigned to it now.
Right.
Okay, this is cool.
So this was the sort of and they're all sort of, I don't know, niche. They're they're probably not things that are going to be particularly useful in everyday conversation, but I sort of wanted to, like, along the line of the language shapes how you think of things, and when you give something a name, it's easier to think about it. It's easier to conceptualize it.
Yeah, right. To recognize the feeling,
Right,
or yeah.
right. It becomes a thing. Um, so this was one. Well, hold on.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
so I guess just to clarify, definition first,
Yeah. Definition.
and then maybe I'll theorize. No, I'm not going
Um,
to theorize. I don't know. I'll try my best.
this is somewhat abstract. So I wanted a word for people's, comma, who weren't very close to you. Oh, okay. People's views of you, and like the people, like people who aren't very close to you or like know you very well, those people's views of you or memories of you that, if taken without a better understanding of you or more context that say closer friends or family would have, um, uh, those people's views of you or memories of you that make you out to be a completely different person than you think of yourself, and maybe what your inner circle thinks of you. So, like, I had an example of, like, if someone thinks you're an X type of person based on their memory of you doing Y, their memory would be this new word of you. Um, like, oh, that's just a whatever this word is. That's not how I am. That's not what I like. That's not what I do,
Okay,
etc.
so it's a little bit of a label on that particular like first impression almost,
Right.
like that it's
If
you're
yeah.
just getting a sliver and it's not
Right.
representative.
Right.
Okay.
The word the I believe this was from, yeah, it's from that lady that was in Ireland. She called it. She had like a couple options. And I liked this one the most. It was a memodalius.
Let me see it.
Yeah,
Memodalius.
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 She broke it down, like, in why it makes sense. I'd have to search through the messages to find it,
Yeah.
but it makes sense
No,
etymologically.
I buy it. I trust. I don't know
Yeah.
this person,
Yeah.
but if you trust it, I trust it. That's cool. To me, that almost seems like you would name, like, that's almost to bring it back to film. It's like that's the name of the short film,
Mm-hmm.
and then through the watching of the thing, people get a good example of this phenomena,
Mm-hmm.
and then they take home this new
Yeah,
word.
because like, you meet people all the time, and like you got to think, like, how many acquaintances do you know, and like you can only base your idea of them on one or two little interactions or things you've seen them do, and you might have an idea of them, and that's not who they are at all, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's just a memodalius. Memodalius. I don't remember how she said to pronounce it.
Pronunciation is still up for debate.
Well, she had a way of, she wrote out how to pronounce it, but
You didn't put it with the word. Okay, all right.
maybe
Well, it's fine.
let's take. Well,
You want the dictionary thing next to it.
yeah. I
Alright,
should have
well,
put that there. But
nice. Can we hear one more? Do you have one more?
for some reason I don't have
Or maybe at least one of the examples
a
of
definition
a thing? Yeah.
of something. Um. Hmm.
I'm watching the scrolling from a distance
I
here.
have many.
I see a lot,
Uh,
but we want a good one. Beau is thinking.
I like the narrating.
Beau is
Um,
scrolling.
this is like a short one. Trying hard to win without worrying about losing, or maybe while losing, sort of unfazed. Uh, like sort of like a zombie trying to get brains. Like they're not thinking about how many limbs they're losing to get there.
I was
Um,
thinking more football, but
or football, yeah, or maybe somebody mindlessly hitting max bet on a slot machine, losing all their money, trying to win. Maybe I don't know. Um,
trying to win but not worrying about losing.
or like losing isn't or what they're losing. I don't. I'm not sure how to.
Okay.
Yeah,
But it was a thought at one point. Okay.
yeah.
Great. I like it. I like that a lot.
Or an action. Here's one.
Okay.
This will be the last one. An action which the desired result can only be achieved by group effort, or if everyone else also performs the action. So, like, this would be the sort of like if you're trying to get people to vote, this would be that whatever. This is only gonna work if we all do it. Um, so just a word for that. I think because
And,
yeah.
and you don't go as far as like we don't know if this word is a verb or a noun. No, it's probably an action, right? This is a.
Um,
It's not like a thing. Like I guess, or you just plot
well, I don't know. I sort of think of it as an event. Like it's we're gonna do a
a flash mob.
sure flash mob.
It doesn't work unless we're all doing it together. Sorry, that
Right,
was just.
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Things that don't have words. Maybe slash.
It might have a word.
It might.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. I wanted to jump into some conversations that you have started, and via like I've complimented you before on how how you utilize Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and you like to kind of like you throw out kind of some big topics at people, and you're I think the expectation for you you want to try to what's okay. Let me give an example here, and then we can see as to. Cause I know you've told me before I could use a reminder, but I'm currently clicking on my phone. I'm opening up this app. I'm gonna find the photo. Okay, like little thought exercises here. I'll go with an easy one. This is from June 2022. So here's your post. It's step 1. Create a progressively undereducated and more hostile environment in which to live. Step 2, force and promote population growth. And step 3, profit question mark. And that was the post. So can you talk to me about thought like the intentionality and the ideal outcome of like because I know you have a certain outlook on how you do things. Or maybe with this one specifically if that's easier.
It was sort of a so um yes I okay
Because
trying to
for me when I look at it, I'm thinking, all right, because I know you, I'm like, all right, the intention here is to have like you're a fan of conversation and you
Yes.
want to engage like you want to be a promoter of positive conversation and like actual listening to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and let me hear your side. Okay, here's what I think about it, and it should be civil. Um, but for something like this too, it's like commentary on potentially the world that we're living in now, and maybe people have different views on how the world works and stuff. So is he are you trying to pull,
Well,
or yeah.
usually that's the case. With this post in particular, it was sort of like my pessimistic views of how things are going, and it's just like yeah. Like, what was? Do you have a? Do you have it?
Do you want
Yeah.
to see it?
Yes, please. Okay. Yeah. Create step one. Create a progressively undereducated and more hostile environment in which to live. So like, I was just like seeing. It feels to me like this is what's happening. It might not be on purpose, but um,
Yeah. A
we're
symptom of something else
we're because
accidental,
like
but
I feel like education, at least in America, is just plummeting, at least in public schools. Um, I know, like in my experience of it, like I feel like I could have been so much better off if I was better educated. Um, so we got this, and it's getting worse. It seems like what the thing in Florida where like you don't even need a degree anymore to teach. Like you just have to be a spouse of somebody in the military, and you can teach. You can teach in public schools. I think Oklahoma is following suit.
because the whole idea there, right, is they're desperate for teachers,
Because they're not
so
paying them, so the teachers are going places where they can get paid. And I mean that makes sense, but it sucks for everybody. It sucks for the students and like
for the children.
for the children who are going to be the people of tomorrow. So because children aren't people today. Uh,
All right,
it's
continue.
just yeah, it's
Yeah.
just education's like a man, it's like because it's not like we could have the perfect education system tomorrow, and we're not going to really see the benefits of it for 15 years probably.
Well, look, yeah, why put money into something now that we're not seeing instant,
Yeah.
where it feels like we're just throwing money away at that point. So
Right.
we need to see a turnaround immediately, otherwise there's no point.
Right.
Is the thing that happens, right? Is that
Right. And it's working out great.
yeah, lots of money is being funneled places.
So I was seeing that the progressively undereducated and more hostile environment. People are getting like polarized, and um, people are shutting off their like shutting off their listening and
Yeah, just themselves altogether. Yeah.
right. And it's super. At least how I was feeling when I wrote it. I was feeling like everything is super tribal right now, and it's getting worse. So that was step one, and then step two is force and promote population growth. With um, yeah, like what was I think like Elon Musk said something about like we're gonna run out of people if we don't start having more kids, and I'm like, are you kidding me? We have so many people as it is, and it's the trend is up. It's always been up. What are you talking about? Um, what are we at? Like 8 billion now? I remember when I was a kid, it was like 6 or something, and then like I hear older people talking, and like I remember when it was 4, and then we're doubled. we're, we're getting
Right.
more people. So like step one is to make a worse place undereducated, so we're not going to teach kids, and then you want more kids to not teach so they can grow up and be more
Look,
hostile.
as long as they know how to apply for a credit card and
Oh
they can spend money, that's kind of all we really need
boy.
to keep the world going.
Oh boy. So then I was seeing these two things, and it's like these are two very bad things to have at the same time.
And then
And
you're
then step 3, are we supposed to profit off of this? Is there a benefit to this? There must be for somebody. And I don't know if there is for that person and they know it. I'm gonna make another Facebook post about it.
Interesting. Yes, I hear you. We hear you.
Yeah, I like the support. I like being heard.
That's what we're here to do. Now the question is, okay, so with that post specifically, like you're saying, it's a little bit different, a little bit kind of a event post.
Yeah.
So that was more just to put it out there and then see, kind of get that percolating in other people's brains too. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe.
Was that when around Roe v. Wade getting overturned?
June. I don't recall when that happened. I feel like that was
typical men, not even paying attention to the dates on this.
I'm not good with dates, okay?
Typical.
But maybe you think that had something to do with your post too, the polarization aspect or the control. Because it doesn't really feel like it's addressing that. That's not what it feels like to me.
Well, the force and promote population growth.
The hostile environment.
Well, I don't know, if you if you make abortion illegal, people are still going to be getting pregnant,
and it's harder to.
And now we're going to be having more babies.
Yeah.
And I hate babies.
No. Moving on from that comment. Okay, so that's more of a dump. And I didn't look at the comments on that one, but I was just curious. Okay. I want to switch to another thought experiment that you put before we have 2 avenues to go to. We'll stick towards we'll stick on the money side here. It's almost on a similar theme. I don't know when you posted this one, and then we'll jump to a little bit more of a religious conversation. But for starters, I'm going to read this here. Okay. I have this nice post, and I really appreciated this thought exercise.
Okay.
And I guess I'd be curious to know the origins here and maybe more of your thoughts after I give maybe my thoughts. Okay. Scenario. You're making $12.50 an hour at a company where everyone else makes $11 an hour. So let's just do the math here. That's $1.50 more an hour.
Yeah.
You're making more than everyone else. You make more because you work harder and you have more responsibilities than everyone else. The company bumps up their base pay to $14.50 an hour. Everyone now makes $14.50 an hour, but they don't give you more than $14.50 an hour. So you're making the same exact as everyone else, but you still have the same extra responsibilities you had before. Question number 1, are you upset? Question number 2, would you have rather had the pay stay the same as it did before when you made more than everyone else, even though you're making more now? Question number 3, would you continue to work as hard? And question number 4, would a pizza party make any difference? Okay, so then you kind of restate it a little bit here. Would a higher base pay bump change anything? Say if base pay went from $11 to $20 or even $30, would you feel the same way about being paid equal to everyone else with less responsibility and gumption? Or what if everyone got a big pay cut versus getting a slight pay cut? Say everyone else makes $7.25 and now you make $12.25. How many pizza parties would keep you? And then I cut it off there. It was too long. Okay. And then I went through the comments on this one. I didn't screenshot these ones, but before we jump into maybe what people said or what responses you were happy with, origins of this one, I don't know the date. Did something happen?
Not really. I was just sort of thinking like about like how people place value on themselves.
Know your worth is what they say.
Right. Know your worth.
Know others' worth too.
Sure. um, I don't know. It's just I feel like I don't know. I feel like deep down there's people that are going to work harder anyways. Like there's people that bust ass for free. And there's people that get paid a lot and don't do much. It's like, I don't remember where I was going with that.
It kind of reminds me of school a little bit too, where some people can get by without studying at all, and
Right.
some people have to actually work at it, and the same work is getting done.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you're not putting
That's backwards.
yeah, if you're not putting like any study work in, like somebody's studied for hours, and then you guys get the same grade, yeah, somebody did more work for the same pay.
That's called intelligence.
Right. If the grade is the pay. Yeah, I don't know. I was just trying to. I was putting it out there, just yeah, because I was working through it.
Okay, so for me, because I never commented on this, I don't really engage in them. I let you have your fun. I don't know. I'm like, I post and then Beau doesn't respond to the post usually, so I just feel like, all right, well.
I don't.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. On this one, people got a little sidetracked. I don't know if it's the semantics of it or people were kind of almost missing the, like, I saw you clarify in the comments, like, well, let me simplify the question here. Do we give the raise or not?
Right. Yeah, because would you be willing to work the same and get paid more, but everybody else also gets paid the same as you? And for me, like, obviously yes. Like, it's such an obvious answer for me. Yeah.
But hold up, Beau. I'm gonna feel bad.
For what?
Because then everybody else is getting paid as much as me, and they're not working as hard.
I'll take it for the team. I'm getting paid more,
Okay,
and I'm doing the same thing for more money, and everybody else gets more money too. Yeah.
Because most people got caught up on the, like, well, the obvious answer is, yeah, give everybody the raise, and we all deserve to be getting paid more money, even if those people are slackers and don't have as much to do. Sure, let's help everybody out, and I still get paid more too. This is great.
Right.
And then, I don't know. This is probably, there's still the ability to, after the bump happens, to negotiate your pay up too. From
right. Yeah, that could happen later.
But for now, yeah. For
now, yeah, I'll take the pay bump and sure, give everybody else more money too. I don't care. Like,
yeah, but most people were commenting that
it's like, hell no.
It's like I'd be pissed too. It's like, well, did you forget that you got a raise or?
Right, like what? Like you were happy you were making less.
Because I don't know, it almost feels like this is. I don't think the timing was the same, but with the student debt relief that was going down.
I wonder if it was about that. Yeah. I wonder if it was around there.
The whole idea was they were gonna forgive $10,000, $20,000 for some, for people that had student debt, and then all the people that had paid off their debt already were like, wait a second,
what gives?
I wait, but I wouldn't have paid if I knew that you were going to forgive. These people should not be able to be forgiven because I paid my money. They should have to too.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like, or.
I get the feeling. It's like you feel like if I didn't pay it off, it would have been paid off for me. I got gypped $10,000 or something. But like it's at the same time you gotta like, man. Come on, like we're never gonna like this. It feels along the same lines as like adults that grew up rough, having kids, saying like, now I'm gonna make my kids grow up rough because that's how rough I had it, and it's like, but you understand it was wrong, like it was bad, right? So like we should try to make things better in the future. We should try to. It's like I was beat as a kid, so I'm gonna beat my kid.
I knew you were going with that. Yeah.
Classic.
The classic.
That's how I was raised. Look how I turned out.
I'm healthy. Is what they say. They probably don't say that, but okay, yeah.
It feels along those same lines.
No, it is along those same lines. Because how could they? Yeah, you want certain lessons to be learned.
Yeah.
And okay, so yeah, like I enjoy these posts. These are nice. And you get lots of engagement on them too. I wonder if I would get engagement if I posted something like this.
It's weird, like whenever I like my Facebook posts are pretty hit and miss. Like sometimes I'll get like 3 likes on something, and then I'll do another thing, and it gets a bunch of likes and a couple shares and a bunch of comments, a bunch of interaction. But I don't know. If,
That's social media.
yeah.
Okay, next we're gonna jump into a doozy here.
Doozy.
It's not really too much of a doozy. Your post says, "I'm curious about how everyone thinks. Use reactions to vote." And I wonder if this feels like something you probably got from someone else, but maybe you made this up yourself. Who knows? So if people that are familiar with Facebook, you can react to posts different ways. You have the heart, you have the laugh, sad, wow, and angry. And you also have a like and all that kind of stuff. You utilize 5 of them. So you have a little kind of scale here. With the love reaction, this is how you vote. So the vote would go to, I know and I believe a God exists. Your haha reaction is, I don't know, but I believe a God exists. The sad reaction, I don't know and I don't believe either way. The wow, I don't know, but I believe God does not exist. And then the angry face, I know and I believe a God doesn't exist.
Wait, is that right? Oh, okay.
Then you
Is that
go.
the most recent one? Yeah, I think I changed it because I was doing it. I was doing it like once a year to gauge my people that were.
Yeah, this is the most recent.
Yeah, I recently. Yeah, that was the change. Or did you have more to say?
I was gonna, let's see. Okay. Yeah, you kind of say I've done this before, but I changed up the wording a little bit. Instead of an I absolutely certain of X, you just put I know. Okay. Since I'm not convinced, absolute certainty can be achieved. Great. Cool. So you had 83 people poll. Technically, one of them put a like, which was not an option, but it helps us
get a couple of those.
All right. So for those at home listening, kind of rank what you expect people to say. Again, you have 80 votes. There's a scale of knowing, not knowing, and then God existing and believing God doesn't exist. So that's what we're talking about here.
Another thing to take into account, I was in Oklahoma before here, so a good majority of my Facebook friends are from Oklahoma.
Great. That's a good thing to keep in mind. All right. Let's start with number 5. Was the last one, the angry. You got 7. I know and I believe God doesn't exist. Then you have the
strong atheist.
Then you have the sad in fourth place, 8 reactions. That's I don't know and I don't believe either way.
True agnostic.
Next, we have the laughy. I don't know, but I believe God exists. 13 people. Is there a descriptor for that?
That was
third place.
The haha was third?
Yeah, 13 people.
Oh, right. Yeah, normally it was much higher. Like on the previous polls. So that is I would say agnostic theist. Or you might say weak theist.
Okay. So
Weak theism.
it's like I don't know, but I choose to believe in. And you, I know some people took a little offense to your terminology of a god versus
Mm-hmm.
uppercase God.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Second place was the wow that I don't know, and I believe God doesn't exist.
Weak atheism
Weak atheism.
versus the strong atheism that was put
That
down.
knows for sure
Yeah.
somehow.
All these
And
claims.
then and then the heart with 32, which is, that's a pretty big percentage.
Mhm.
In first place that I know and I believe
Strong theist.
God exists. So that makes sense for the population that
Mm-hmm.
you're polling. What's your takeaway?
A lot of peeps be believing in God, man.
That's
Because
one takeaway. Yeah.
I think I've done this. I think I've done this five years in a row now, and it's always the most peeps are the I know and believe God exists.
They also feel like the most likely to respond to a poll like that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I have thousands of Facebook friends, so 80 a turnout of 80 doesn't quite grasp all of them,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. But if I believe God exists and I know, I'm gonna be telling people. Like that's a
yeah,
part of the
yeah,
that's a part of
yeah. That's
the
yeah.
deal.
Especially like if the religion is say Christianity, where it's like sort of built into the cake that you want to spread it around. Whereas like people that don't believe and uh, they don't have that sort of motivation
Yeah,
to go out and tell people about it.
or the shrug emoji with like,
Yeah,
that's not as exciting.
yeah. I like to think a lot of people just saw it and just kept scrolling.
Like, this looks messy. I'm gonna keep moving. I don't know. Should I put what you polled in as?
Sure.
Your reaction's right here. It's the wow face.
Mm-hmm.
The wow is I don't know, but I believe God doesn't exist.
And that was another change. The all the other ones were um I don't know and I don't believe. Which is because I recently saw a sort of it's like a pie chart graph sort of. It's not a pie chart, but it's like a what's it called? It's
Bar graph,
like a Venn diagram or something, like multiple circles
a
and
circle and overlapping middle grounds of
something
people
like that.
believe in
Yeah,
God and people think it exists, or I don't
something
know, whatever.
something like that.
Sure.
But like I used to think there's so like Gnosticism and agnosticism are descriptors of like whether you claim to know or don't know, like they're knowledge claims. So if you say you're an agnostic, you're essentially saying you don't know. If you're a Gnostic, you're saying you know. And then with theism and atheism, those are in regards to belief. So if you're a theist, you believe a God exists. If you're an atheist, you don't believe a God exists. Um, so you could mix the two. So you could be a Gnostic theist or an agnostic theist, where you, like a Gnostic theist is like I know and believe. An agnostic theist is I don't know, but I believe. Same for atheism. You could be so for a good while I identified as agnostic atheist. So I said I don't know and I don't believe. And I would often have to clarify, like, because I'm saying I don't believe, that isn't saying I believe there is no God. I'm saying I don't hold the belief that there is a God. And there's a distinction there.
Yeah, as stated before, words are important.
Right. Because like a lot of the time I would say I would tell people I don't believe a God exists, and they would say, well, why do you believe no gods exist? Like, why do you believe God doesn't exist? I'm like, I didn't say that. That's not the position I'm taking. That's not the position I hold. because like um, a dichotomy is when you have a a position and its counter position. So like a true dichotomy, um, like for the microphone I'm holding, it's like you are either holding a microphone or you are not holding a microphone. The dichotomy isn't you are holding a microphone or you are holding a not microphone. It's like it's a weird way of putting it, but it's like with God belief, it is like the dichotomy. There's two separate dichotomies there. There's you either believe God exists or you don't believe that God exists. And then the separate claim would be you either believe that God doesn't exist or you don't believe that God doesn't exist. Like those would be the two separate things. So like when I would say I'm on one side of the coin over here, they would say I'm on one side of the coin over here, which doesn't apply. Because I would have also said I don't believe that God doesn't exist. Like I would have stayed in that agnostic position in regards to that claim as well. Um, but
It's a lot of double negatives. It throws the brain off for sure.
yeah,
I don't believe does not exist. I don't believe.
like if you were asked, do you believe that God exists, and you say no, you could also be asked the question, do you believe that God doesn't exist, and you could say no to that as well, and that would be agnostic.
Yeah.
That's how I was before. Recently, before at least before that poll, I've come into a bit of a stronger atheist position that doesn't quite fit that mold of how I viewed it before, because I'm still in the like I would still be in that agnostic camp of I don't know if a God exists, but now I actively believe that God doesn't exist. So that doesn't fit the yeah that mold I had before. Um, yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to
Can
dig into
you?
that.
Well, I guess I'm curious to, because we've had a little bit of the conversation before, but it would be good for the listeners to, I guess, you do a lot of thinking in this realm and you do a lot of investigating and of course you've run this poll for many years and you're curious about the changes in the people around you maybe to see if you know all that kind of stuff. So what before we jump to another random topic, thoughts on I guess clarifications on what interests you the most about pursuit of
Like the poll or
no, just
oh
the thought of religion and the existence of
oh
God in the first place.
I don't know. I just I've
Because I know you've been through your share of, you've experienced many different religious. You've had the chance to witness like you've different churches and
yeah
you came up in a certain
I mean
one.
it was all Christianity, but it was like different denominations and such.
Yeah.
Because I remember growing up Lutheran, um, and like because it was Minnesota, lots of Lutherans up there, just like there's many Baptists in the South. Um, yeah, Lutheran Church. It's kind of like I compare it to. I mean, it's not like it's. I don't know. It's kind of like holy, and you're not gonna be doing like a gospel worship sort of thing like you would in a Baptist church, or even like Pentecostals. Even like a Pentecostal would be like very very different from Lutheran. But I remember I went to a Pentecostal church for a while. I went to Baptist churches for a while. I don't know what they're called, but like Church of Christ, I went there for a bit. Went to a couple like non-denominational churches for a while. Yeah, the most religious I was going to Baptist church. Like I went to in high school. I went to like a Bible camp, Baptist camp thing, in Oklahoma, and I got saved, and uh, yeah, I became pretty pretty serious Christian at the time. As serious as you can as a high schooler, anyways. You can't. There's limits to the depths of what you can comprehend as a high schooler, but um, yeah, I very firmly believed it, and I was reading the Bible and praying every day and all that good stuff. Um, I don't know. It's questions of how we got here, and I think those are I ponder those. I think they're good questions to ponder.
Big questions. And I know that another aspect of it too is how we filter our beliefs into our actions, and
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
whole deal.
yeah. Our beliefs. Yeah, our actions are, I'd say, dictated by our beliefs. So I want like a yeah, I want to believe true stuff. So I want my actions to reflect that. I want to do the right stuff. And if you believe in the wrong stuff, it's hard to do the right stuff.
Yeah, like building your principal foundations. It's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
And likewise, I want everyone around me to sort of believe the right stuff too. So I think the best ways of going about that are through discussion and through understanding of logic and such.
Well, I guess maybe let me pull. I don't know. Not to push back, but you use the specific verbiage of right stuff as if there's a wrong stuff. So
Well, it's if like there are yeah, the specific vagueness of right stuff. Uh um if you're basing your actions on beliefs for which you have poor reasoning to hold in the first place, I feel like you're not I feel like you're not being true to yourself. I feel like you're not I don't know, I feel like you're cheating yourself out a bit.
yeah, I guess my benefit of the doubtness is that I hope that people could be in the heart reaction category, have some awareness to why they're there,
Right,
and
yeah.
then still be able to
Yeah, like I don't
like
I don't care if you like it like the goal has never been I want nobody to be religious. I want nobody to believe in God. It's if you're gonna believe in God, like give me a reason why. Like you should be able to talk about your beliefs, like whatever they are. Like I don't like I like talking to theists. I like talking to people that believe in God. I love asking questions. I love it when they ask me questions. I love the honest and open discussion. I hate so often that it gets devolved into this bickering, name calling nonsense.
tribalism. Yeah,
Yeah, back to the tribalism. Yeah,
yeah,
I hate that it so often goes to that. Because like, ask me a question about it. I'll talk to you about it.
yeah.
I love talking about
There
it.
is that national like you have the National Ask an Atheist a Question Day. She posted
Well,
about some
yeah,
like an Ask an Atheist
yeah. There's like an
question.
ask an atheist day once a year or something.
Yeah, that's a real
I
thing.
try to catch it.
I'm like, it's like Beau making this up.
No.
He just wants us to ask him questions. Okay, well, let's pivot out of that and move to something a little bit. I was just scrolling through, doing my little last minute research on you,
Sure.
and this was a post I hadn't seen you do, and I was curious because I didn't. You shared like a little. I wasn't sure if it was like a documentary or something, but I'd be curious if you can just like give me spoil the show. It was the show was kind of going over the Bermuda Triangle and why ships really go missing.
Oh,
And
the Johnny Harris video.
I don't know. And
Yeah.
you said that had good information. Is it really about Bermuda Triangle and why ships go
Um,
missing, or is it about something else? 'Cause I want to.
Ultimately, it's about something else, but it covers. Yeah, I was kind of playing into
Oh,
the
you punk.
yeah
I
yeah.
was like, I really want to know. Where are these ships
Why
going?
didn't you watch it?
Well, I didn't have time. But I was,
You have time.
but, but I was. It piqued my curiosity.
It's a great video though.
But you're not going to spoil it.
No.
Oh shucks. So look up the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. What they don't want you to know.
And what's the video? I don't even know what the video title is. Apologies, people. Good luck finding it. Um.
Look up Johnny Harris Bermuda Triangle. You'll find it.
Okay, great. You have a quote from January 16th, 2022. It's almost a year ago now. Oh my gosh. The quote says, if you can't say anything, don't say anything at all. And that one got a bunch of laugh reactions on it.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure I'm interpreting this correctly.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit different than the old quote. The classic quote is, if you don't have anything nice to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Hmm.
This one says, if you can't say anything, then don't say anything. So what is this?
I thought I mean, like I thought it sounded funny, but
Well, it's funny, yeah.
um
It worked.
you I could say like a lot of people are saying nothing in my eyes. Like a lot of people are I call it fluff. People are saying things without any substance.
Yeah.
A lot of things without any substance. There's just people just talking.
And what's the context of these people talking?
You could find it in any context, I think.
So just general life living, like
Yeah,
walking
just
around the street and you just hear words, but it's nothing.
a lot of it is.
Yeah.
I feel. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
So are you stating that the preference here is that let's talk less? Because we rarely have something of value or of substance to say.
I guess.
So
I guess so. Like,
let's not fill the air with surface level.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm not
Hey, hello, how's it going? Yeah, it's been going good. How's the weather? Oh yeah, it's raining today.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not too big on small talk. Hot take.
Demolish small talk.
I don't know.
Get right to the good stuff.
I don't know. I could be persuaded though. I could be persuaded that
I hear
there's some value. I don't know.
I hear small talk is lovely in the right. Like if you want to get to the level in life where the small talk is I don't know. I've heard people talk about. It's like, yes, I had, like they start a family, they move into a neighborhood, and they walk their dog, and the interaction that they have on the street with their neighbor is just the plain, oh yeah, the game yesterday, or hey, yeah, this so and so's moving in this place. Did you see the renovated house down the street? And it's kind of like that nothing stuff, but like
Yeah.
there's something fulfilling about those small interactions that kind of
Maybe
mean nothing.
maybe for me it's just because I don't share a lot of interests with most peeps. So
You don't want to
when
hear
they're
about the renovation down the street.
who does? Unless you're like directly involved with the innovation, like, or the renovation. I don't know.
Yeah, so I clarified with this person. I'm like, wait, so I just want to clarify. You enjoyed these interactions? This is what I asked, and he was like, yeah, no, yes, yes. I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure if that's what you were trying to say, because that doesn't sound like the best time to me either. But it sounds like that being enjoyable sounds like a nice life, because that's, again, most of what goes around.
I don't know. I feel like the people that enjoy small talk don't enjoy these bigger ideas.
That's probably a good. If you're looking at a Venn diagram, yeah, you're probably.
I'd like to see the numbers on that.
People who enjoy small talk, people who enjoy big talk, and then
Big talk.
the middle ground here is probably if who knows if they
Yeah.
even connect.
I wonder.
Let's look up see if Stanford's done any studies on that. All right. I guess I have a couple of small topics left. Let me jump to. This is a big one. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I know that you're a fan of exercising your brain. You jump into. How do you describe this on yourself? I have a nice quote here somewhere. Let me look for it.
Yeah, like exercising the brain. Get some weights
Okay,
going.
you describe it as diving into subjects beyond your comprehension, is how you've described it before.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's the challenge. And the context here, I think this was like an Instagram post. You're posting some new books you're reading. One, I'll list off the name of the titles here. I didn't put the authors, but there's Being and Nothingness, which I know you're still working through.
By Jean-Paul Sartre.
The Second Sex.
Sartre.
a-
By Simone de Beauvoir.
And The Myth of Sisyphus.
Albert Camus.
Great. Thank you. And I don't know if there's like a genre that those get put in, but you're a fan of diving into these kinds of things.
Just broadly philosophy, I guess. Because Myth of Sisyphus is like a philosophical essay on existentialism and absurdism, more specifically. The Second Sex is a very large book on the Second Sex is basically women, by Simone de Beauvoir, who is one of the pioneers of feminism. I saw in one video it was like characterized like second wave feminism, like back in the day. I think she wrote it in the 40s, 50s, 60s, somewhere, maybe 70s.
And that one, you finished that one by now. You've read The Second Sex.
I read that one a while ago.
You've read The Myth of Sisyphus, which you recommended to me, and I've read
Right.
as well.
That's the most digestible of them.
And it was hard.
Digestible in terms of size. It was a much smaller book than The Second Sex and Being and Nothingness. Sorry, was there a question there?
The question is, can you? I guess it's kind of general on, like we talked about religion in that sense, with the awareness factor and kind of getting a better sense of our principle building and the way we see the world and think through things. Is this along the same vein of exploring different ideas and this helping give bigger context to things that, again, are a little bit like you described earlier, things that previously, like they're beyond your comprehension. So the goal here is to gain a little bit more insight into things currently unknown.
Because like the first time you read The Second Sex, you're not going to grasp it all. The first time you read Myth of Sisyphus, you're not going to grasp it all. Like it's like exploring a new sort of dimension of thinking. But it's
Yeah, because Myth of Sisyphus, I almost forget what that one does. That's like consciousness and stuff, right?
That's the one that it's about, like, because he explores the idea of like why don't we end it all.
Oh, right. So it's a heavy logic read for sure, and it's rough. It's those sentences go on for so long. I'm like, wait a second, where did this start?
Yeah. All three authors there are French. So their writings were in French, and these are the translations. And
yeah.
All of them share long sentences.
Oh my word. Yeah.
At least their translations do.
I do want to semi-pop quiz you. I'm just looking at your Instagram post here. You showcase a large page of notes, and then, like, for instance, chapter 1, immediate structures of the four itself, and you're taking notes throughout, which I think for something that large, that sounds probably useful to be like, all right, how do I? Is it like a learning style that you've developed, or?
Yeah, because that's a note for being in nothingness, which is quite beyond my comprehension. So I will read a chapter. I will. There's a couple YouTube channels that really dig into what the hell he's talking about. So I write notes, so like what I think about it, what I think he's trying to say, what I think he's saying, what I think he's getting at. I'll write down what other people think he's getting at. Because I mean, there's people that study this, and that's like that's their life's work, is studying what a person does. So I'm gonna assume they know a bit more than I do.
Yes, you'll kind of cross-reference your notes with.
Mm.
So you'll read it first without having
Mm. So then
little test.
yeah.
Okay,
But
I'll let me read off. I want to just read off the last section just so people get an idea. I don't know if can I read some of your notes?
Sure.
So this is in regards to the the chapters described immediate structures of the four itself.
Mm.
The last paragraph here. What's the name of the author? Sartre describes this whole thing not as a unity which contains a duality, but a duality which is unity, a reflection which is its own reflecting. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of almost reminds me of like electrons. Like it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, it's but where is it? Yeah.
All right.
Were you gonna?
I'll
Okay.
explain a little bit of it.
Sure.
I'll try to here. Okay. So immediate structures. Yeah. Let me see.
That was the very bottom.
Yeah. This is okay for reference. This is part 2 of the book, Being in Nothingness, chapter 1. Immediate structures of the four itself. You can just break down every little thing. So he kind of builds. Sartre kind of builds this. He builds everything upon like what happened before it. So jumping in here to part 2, chapter 1. So he kind of separates everything into being in itself and being for itself. So
yes.
Being is sort of just existence, things that be, things that are being. Being in itself is this. It's easier to use examples. This microphone is being in itself. This couch is being in itself.
Am I being in itself?
No.
Okay.
It's kinda. No.
Okay. I'm just. Okay. Yes, the couch and the microphone are being in itself.
Everything that isn't pretty much consciousness is being in itself. So like, when you ask like, am I being in itself? The answer is going to be no, because I is a sort of I won't get in. Am I wasting all my time on this? Okay, so consciousness is being for itself. I don't know. That's the gist. All right, being in itself
No, that's
is
good.
things
That's
that are
good.
not
That's good.
conscious.
Jeez Louise, that's
It's a
intense.
lot.
Okay, well, plus I know you're also trying to take in consideration that this is a part two and this is being built upon.
Yeah,
So like, we'd have to start a slideshow right now to go over the fundamentals and then be like, all
yeah.
right, now we can talk about being in itself.
Well, it took me about like because last year, January, uh I had the goal of reading Being a Nothingness for the whole year. Like I had sort of mapped out like how long it was going to take me based on just like page count and how long it takes me to read a page and how many times I have to reread and time to go over notes and listen to lectures about it and try to because I didn't just want to because I could have just plowed through it and not gotten anything out of it um or gotten very little out of it um even though I seem to have gotten very little out of it now.
You have something.
uh
It's hard to regurgitate that much work.
yeah but yeah, it was going to take me a year to get through it. I think it's 700 and something pages, maybe. Yeah, 700 something pages, 4 parts. I was gonna finish it by December, but about halfway through last year, I got a different job, and it kind of threw everything out of whack, and I got busy with other stuff, and I just kind of stopped reading it for the second half of the year.
Life happened, as they say.
Yeah, so I'm about halfway through the book currently. I just started picking up my notes again because I want to um, refamiliarize myself before I continue. Um, yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just gonna throw out. You took a photo of some note cards here. So
hmm
do you do the thing? You have the paper and then you do note cards as well. Is this
The
for like
note
terms?
cards were so in the back of the book there is a key terminology list, and maybe I don't know 2 months, couple months before I started even reading, like because most of the terms I didn't even understand, so I got like a bunch of flashcards and just like wrote out the terms and the definitions of the terms and
Yeah, the terms you have listed here. You have anguish,
anguish. Yes.
nothingness,
Mm-hmm.
and facticity.
Facticity is a fun word.
Do you remember the definition?
Facticity is your oh goodness. Um, Facticity is kind of your history as a being for itself. Um, where you come from, the things you've done. Um, those are your facticity.
Oh my word. Yeah, the definition on your card here says the for itself's necessary connection with the in itself.
Yeah.
Hence, with the world and its own past. It is what allows us to say that the for itself is or exists. The facticity of freedom is the fact that freedom is not able not to be free.
Yeah. Um, that's all Sartre's words. um, so another like, man, he defines things so many times in so many different ways. Being in itself is also everything that is what it is being in itself, and being for itself is what it is not, and is not what it is what he says. But the thing is your history and your past actions, they are what they are. So he considers them being in itself.
I can't. I just can't.
The thing, you can't change your past, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just like this couch is what it is.
Okay, great. All right, moving on.
Well, a fun thing to clarify that, like Sartre's sort of he's like sort of the founder of existentialism, or like he made not the founder, but like he sort of popularized
a pioneer of some kind.
sort of, yeah. He said like for existentialists, what is it? Existence precedes essence. And this is sort of a counter to, I think it was Plato who first said it, ancient Greek dude, philosopher dude, um,
Ancient
who
Greek
said
philosopher dude.
essence precedes existence. And what that means is like how Plato used it. He had this like there's the like the essence of something is the necessary thing about something that makes it what it is. Um, like and
Like a shovel.
yeah, like a shovel is used to dig stuff. If you have a shovel that doesn't dig stuff, like that can't dig stuff, it's hardly a shovel. Then it's the yeah one of the yeah that would be the essence of it. Um, and Sartre says so before like for Plato, because he said essence precedes existence. There is that thing that makes up something that has to exist before the thing exists. Like if you're creating a shovel, the purpose of the shovel has to be there before the shovel is actually there. And I think Sartre would agree with that. When Sartre says existence precedes essence, he's saying that for itself, for people, for consciousness, existence precedes essence. So you must exist before what makes you you is on the table. Um, it's because he says what is it? There is no prescribed thing for you. You are necessarily free as a person, like in not like you're limited by your environment and all that, but it's like there was no essence of Eddie before Eddie came to be. There was no like some people can have like your parents could have like an idea of who they want you to be, but ultimately this is you have to. Am I making sense? It's a
No, yeah, I
um
was tracking
uh
best I can. And the answer is yes, you're making
yeah.
sense.
You have to be before what makes you you bees.
You have to be before what makes you you, bees.
Yeah.
The need to dig the hole needs to exist before the shovel exists. That's not the same thing.
No.
Okay. Right. Next.
All right, next.
All right, I want to jump to something easy here. There were rumors circulating that you were considering, that you've thought about starting a podcast.
Yeah.
Is it accurate or?
It's one of those. It's another one of those half baked ideas.
What's the half-baked
I like
idea?
to talk about certain topics, and some people seem to show interest in those topics. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it.
Great. What are the topics? Can you spoil that, or you want to hold that close?
Sure. I mean, it's like religion and philosophy
Okay,
sort of
great.
stuff. Yeah.
The stuff that we've just been
Yeah.
going over. Yeah, no, I
Like
know
to
it's
dive deep into that sort of stuff.
yeah, it's definitely a passion of yours. So I could see that. All right. Well,
Oh, I have
okay.
I have some stuff I prepared for this.
Let's see what Beau's got for me.
All right. I've heard you say a few times that when you watch movies, and something cool maybe effects wise happens, you wonder how they filmed it. Do you think non-analytical, non-filmmaker normies enjoy movies more than you? That they're sort of engulfed in the story so much that they forget about everything else. Also, are there when watching movies or in everyday life, like I've seen you like you'll see like a scenario or something, and like you kind of do like you see it as like how it would look on film, and like you do the
You frame it up.
yeah, like you frame up sort of sometimes everyday situations. Like this would look cool.
Mm-hmm.
Along these lines, are there ever moments um, where you become so engulfed in a story that you don't think about how one might create or recreate such a thing? Or maybe, and then my thoughts for you. Maybe you see it like people become so engulfed in their passions and things that entertain them.
Okay, so that was multiple
Yeah.
questions.
Um,
Question number one. Yeah, I do think normies at times have potential for enjoying. I know, like when I go visit my parents back up in like Reno or whatever, or watching,
mm,
my dad will be like, "Hey, I want to show you something," and then I'll be like, "Oh, like that's a lot of coverage they got on that," and he's like, "Can you just watch the thing?" And I'm like, "I am watching it," but he's like, "No, it's like I showed it because it's funny, not because I want you to analyze how they shot
yeah.
it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get that." So I'm definitely.
Mm,
So I feel like, yeah, Normie, aka like my father, he's enjoying it more than I am because he's not.
mm,
He doesn't have to. Whatever. Yeah. So potentially yes, there are movies that I think are enhanced
mm,
with knowing how things are made. I guess the combo there is normally things are yeah that's the rate. I guess maybe I've never if something is so good that I'm watching it and I'm not having those thoughts and I get sucked back into we'll call it air quotes
into normie
normie
mode.
status, then that's how I know it's good. It's like, oh, I'm not
Mm,
0% worried about the production of this.
mm,
I'm just I've been swept away and I am technical like that. Like that's how
mm.
I know if it's good. Um what did I miss?
Um,
You're talking about framing up shots, but was there a question on that?
um, no, I think you covered it.
Great.
Um,
Yeah, so I try my best to. 'Cause sometimes I have to go to the movie multiple times. Like I went to go watch Avatar, and I'm just thinking about the spec. It's like, oh my
the
gosh, James
spectacle.
Cameron worked on this for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
The script was worked on for like 5 of those years or something crazy, and the technology was worked for this much, and they captured the people like 4 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, and the effects. Oh my gosh, this is groundbreaking effects.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, that was an interesting narrative choice to make. Like, if you have all the time in the world to write something, this is what he's choosing to write. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
kind of a thing. And then I'm watching it, and I'm just like having technical thoughts the whole time. And I'm like, I just need to go back. And now that I know what's coming, I can enjoy it more. It's kind of like on the first run that interrupts a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I try, though. I try.
Alrighty. Um, what do you think a society would look like if everyone was blind?
There's a show.
Is there?
That's a TV show
You're kidding me.
with Momoa,
You're kidding me.
Jason Momoa. It's called See.
All right, I've
S.
not.
So I've never seen the show, but the premise of the show is actually the whole society or the village, they're all blind, but
Mm,
there's a baby born that can see,
okay.
and they're like, this we can't let this be. Like now this person that's growing up in the society has an advantage,
Okay.
but I don't know what it would look like. It's gonna be different.
um, the old if a tree falls in the woods and no one was around to hear it, does it make a sound question?
hmm
Do you have thoughts on that?
The way that I've always interpreted it is that the physical wavelengths are still passing through the air, whether we're
Mm-hmm.
there to capture them or not. Is
Mm-hmm.
my understand is how I've digested it. But yeah, I have read some people have interpreted it a little bit more interestingly than that. Like they're like, I know I read somebody's blog once and they were talking about how it's just like a metaphor for men getting away with something. It's like
Oh.
if you
Hmm.
it's like,
Yeah, if you do something and don't get caught.
did it happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. It's like,
Mm.
oh, that's darker.
A different way to think about it is the old like um like you could say like there's so much more to reality than what um we perceive as humans. Like when we see this pillow, uh, we're
Your examples.
yeah. When we see the pillow, our when we see it, like the light is has to reflect off of it, and it goes into our eyes, and our brain sort of processes all this information intake, and we feel it, and we see it, and that's how our brain is making sense of reality. There's so much more that we're not seeing, like all the different ways that light can be, infrared and ultraviolet and so
Yeah,
on.
we
And
have our specific tools that we've been given that
right,
pick
right,
up
right.
certain things.
So there's the idea that if there is no one to perceive a thing, um, there's no way to say that it did exist.
You're
Um,
talking about like Schrodinger's cat? Is that what we're talking here?
uh, talking about it, but that's sort
It's kind of a similar
of
thing as until it's
well, that's
observed.
that's more about like the sort of uncertainty of a thing, I think.
It's kind of a similar thing as like it doesn't exist until it's been observed.
Sorta.
Okay, but yeah, continue.
Yeah.
That's where my mind went.
All right. If so we're gonna be thinking for other people, that think differently.
Okay.
If someone thought that it didn't make a sound, the tree falling, and nobody there, um, do you think? Wait. Um, what did I write? Do you yeah, if there was like a if everybody was deaf, like if humans evolved without the ability to take in sound vibration as our brain does now, do you think um I don't know, it's kind of lame. Do you think they'd have a different a different word or a study for the feeling of vibration? Because you gotta like if because you still feel the vibrations of sound. Um, I wonder.
Do, you they would interpret it differently is more of
Yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah,
But then you undercut it with saying
yeah,
this is lame.
yeah. It's bad.
All right,
I'll just move
next.
on. When a story isn't realistic, wait, no, that was half baked. I never finished. Do you think it's good or bad to keep secrets?
Do I think it's good or bad to
Yeah.
keep
Do you
secrets?
think like it's bad for a society? Do you think it's bad for the individual? Do you think it has benefits?
I know. Let's say if we're I'm a fan of I don't know if this is like secrets, but my brain goes to production as it commonly does, and I'm thinking about transparency with like your team and your crew,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not really like a secret, but it's like, all right, we have this much money, and we don't want anybody to know, so we have to like you get offered a certain rate,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's kind of like the secret is like we can actually give you this much money, but we're offering you this much money. That feels like a secret.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much prefer the transparency of like this is what we're trying to balance and this is what we can offer.
Mm-hmm.
The secret, yeah, I much prefer the transparency aspect. And there's also the things when decisions are being made around you on set and it's not being communicated as to why or why you're doing something or I don't have a good example for that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm always a fan of like, okay, everybody, this is what's going on. I'm not gonna try to pretend like I know what's happening because this just flew up on us, and like instead of wrangling people around with like, all right, hey, go do like whatever, just do this and listen to me and do the thing because I say so. Like I hate that, and it feels like The Secret is I messed up on my job,
Mm.
and the so and so bailed because I was mad at them, and now we have to redo it. So instead, I'm
Mm.
putting it on you, and I'm keeping the secret. I much prefer transparency and honesty.
Okay.
I think it can be good. Um, White lies are good too. So that's secrets.
You think white lies are good?
It can be. They can be
Okay.
good.
Because I know
Did you? Oh, yeah.
well, Sam Harris, the
I read one of his books thanks to you.
yeah, um, he has said he's a neuroscientist philosopher dude. For the listeners out there, um, he has said, I think, yeah, he said like all lies are bad. Basically, like everybody should strive to tell the truth always. Basically, um, yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know.
Have you? I forget. Have you seen the movie The Farewell, directed by Lulu Wang,
Nope.
starring Aquafina?
Hmm.
The movie opens up. It's over black, and the font comes up, and it says this movie was based on a true lie. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But the story being the farewell, the story being Aquafina's character, she is Chinese American, and her mother is like first generation they Aquafina. What her grandmother is in China,
Mm-hmm.
and they get news in America that her grandmother is sick and has cancer, and the dilemma is in their culture. The mom is telling Aquafina like the family is not telling her. She doesn't know that she has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Us as a family, we carry the burden of knowing she has cancer so she can live out the rest of her life with that peace.
Mm.
So they're purposefully keeping the secret
Mm.
from the grandmother so that way to lessen that burden. Because the thing in the trailer, too, it's kind of like a comedic line, but it's followed up with some nice dramatic moment. But the mother is telling the daughter, I think, is like when in China we say, I don't know, when you find out when someone finds out when someone gets cancer, when someone learns that they have cancer, they die or something. I don't know. It's
Hmm. Well, yeah, I imagine they stopped living life as they did.
yeah, like there's this internal, the brain is very powerful,
Mm-hmm.
and once you kind of accept your fate,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of almost summon it upon yourself. So the theory being the secret is saving her life in a way.
Hmm.
And the cool thing about the movie, not to, I mean, I'll spoil it, is the grandmother doesn't end up dying.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, did we actually save her life by not burdening her? And
Hmm.
did we pull this off of her? So that's a scenario in which
Yeah.
this different culture, Aquafina was like struggling the whole time she wanted to tell her grandmother. It was like, you need
Mm-hmm.
to know, like, how can you're not really receiving my love properly because you don't know
Mm.
what's coming, all that kind of those
Right.
dilemmas.
Right.
It was a good, I really enjoyed
Sounds
it.
good. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. Warmed my heart.
Heart warmers. Are there things I do that irk you?
That irk me or that are
Yeah.
cute?
Irk you.
um, irk?
Little Beau pet peeves.
Mo pet peeves. Um, I don't think nothing comes to mind off the top of my head. Do you have
Sweet.
theories on a pet peeve? I know. And I wouldn't say this is a pet peeve, but I regarding director Beau. I know I was kind of asking you about your process on the next one up, I was asking about shot selection and what your plan was. Like we were talking about doing a walkthrough of the
Mm-hmm.
location and figuring out the shots, and you mentioned that your storyboards were pretty good, and you didn't imagine them changing at all.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing was like, I would like to see Beau try to change out of his storyboards because the first two you locked in very specifically to your
Mm-hmm.
boards, and I guess I was curious too on if when you got to the edit that solidified that that you really loved the storyboarding process and you got everything you wanted and there's nothing extra you wanted, or you didn't wish you adjusted anything, or that sort of thing. So I was thinking like the
bit of hard-headedness.
Maybe. So that's a thing. It's like, oh, it would be nice to see what would happen if he gave himself the permission to veer off the storyboard and kind of be more open with whatever process was being laid out in front of him. And because that work is important to do, like knowing what the initial vision is. But yeah, or sometimes it'd be like, hey, do you want this additional shot that we can snag? And you're like, no, the boards are good, and let's just stick with the boards. And I'm like, well, I don't know.
I'll try it.
And also you do this thing where I'm just kidding. No, you're lovely, Beau. You're lovely. A lovely person. Lovely to be your friend.
You're lovely. This has been lovely. I have a bunch more here. I don't know if you want to...
No, pick like 2 more.
Pick 2 more? Oh, boy.
Or 1 more.
One... Oh, no.
We'll have to do a part 2 in a couple of years.
Yeah, we will. I'll just... Should it be a short one?
I don't care. We're here.
And I'll save them for next time. We can do another one.
Okay, great.
Whatever.
All right. Oh my gosh. All right. So as you know, I like to ask for people that want to keep up with everything Beau. Like you've got some projects cooking. I know you're planning on continuing the journey of filmmaking and directing, and maybe popping up here and there as an actor if the opportunity so arises. Where can people follow along?
Follow along on Facebook. I'm most active on Facebook. You can give me a follow on Instagram at the Bowie Home. It's TheBeauYHOME. I pulled it up because I always forget my name on there.
Your handle, the Bowie Home.
Yeah. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, if you want to take part in his polls.
Yeah.
Make sure.
You wanna answer my topic questions and such on Facebook? That's cool.
Yeah.
If not, that's
cool too. That's cool too. All right. Well, that's the show. Make sure you give the podcast a like if you enjoyed. I don't know what else there is to do with podcasts. You follow, leave a comment if possible. If you're on the YouTubes, do all that stuff. And I guess that that's yeah. Thanks again for being a part. And that's it. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Bye bye.